First and foremost, we gonna say all praises be to Yahweh,
Oh,
Ba'ashem,
Hashem, yeah, Shai,
Yahushai, Ba'ashem,
Hashem,
Kodash.
Kakodash,
And then we're gonna say double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Most High.
the wonders.
All right, and shalom to the sincere, elect teaching the truth and faith and sincerity, man. And of course, man, as you can see, prophecy, man, is heating up.
Mm.
You know, like like of course we see what's happening in Israel, like in Iran. Of course, we obviously see, you know, with a speed being the speed of AI.
Mm-hmm.
And how the mark of the beast as a system itself is coming to pass right before our eyes. You know, and even with these raids, with the migrants and stuff, these how they're like, you know, starting to like scan people's faces to get their information and much more. You know, we can see exactly how the scripture says the devil coming down with great wrath because if you have but a short time,
Mm.
you know, and it's like you know things about to get even harder, more persecutions, even with this whole uh, AI thing, bro. AI like videos and
Yeah.
faces is really getting more scary,
Mm-hmm.
like and
Yeah.
more obvious,
Yeah,
you
dude.
know.
Well, once again, through the spirit, right? One thing I've been saying through the spirit for even before we had the technology now is they're gonna use this AI to make us look crazy, man. Right. So
That's clearly what they're gonna do.
yeah. So that's
Definitely.
certainly something as Arkim we've got to actually just be straight up prepared for. Right. They will do that. Right. They will make us look crazy. You know.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like, obviously, well, if you've seen these dudes like vocab, you know,
Mm-hmm.
coming out like, bro, these things are clear. Like, people think it's funny, man. These AI videos and shit.
Yeah.
You know, it's getting more realistic, man.
That's it.
You know, so bro, so that persecution is on its way. But what we do know, because it's a time of salvation, no matter how tight the circumstances are, the Lord is gonna come through for His elect, man. You
Mm-hmm.
know, right? So I'm gonna start off with the scripture.
Okay.
Have you got a precept? Have you got a precept you want to start off with?
Yeah, I was just pulling it up one sec, real
Yeah,
quick.
yeah.
This is so it's not the one. It's not the one I wanted, Slovakia.
Mm-hmm.
Slovakia.
Campbell.
Oh no, no, it is Slovakia. Let me read into it. This is Matthew 10, and from 22, right? It says, and ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake, but he that endureth to the end shall be saved. And I go, but before I carry on, one of the things just on the theme of this particular lesson, right, is just when you read through certain of these precepts, one of the things that does come is like, but Jacob shall be saved from you. For instance, Jeremiah 30:7, talking about the time of Jacob's trouble, right? It's like a time like never before, but the elect shall be saved. Daniel's 12:1, right, starts off by saying, then Michael shall stand up. Right? Why? Because there'll be a great time, but basically the angel Michael is there for the sake of the elect, right? So even in this point, right, it's saying you should be hated, but hey, guess what? If you endure, right, you'll be saved, right?
Mm,
So, but when they persecute you in this city, flee you into another. For verily I say unto you, you shall not have gone over the cities of Israel till the Son of Man be come. The disciple is not above his master, nor the servant above his Lord, right?
mm,
And just as they called Yahweh Shai, right? We needn't say all of the wickedness that they've done to Yahweh Shai, right? So it's written, right? We've all read it, right? So imagine if Yahweh Shai went through that, right? Imagine, what we're gonna have to go through ourselves,
Yep.
And the last verse says, "It is enough for the disciple that he be as his master and the servant as his Lord." Right? If they have called the master of the house Beelzebub, how much more shall they call them of his household?
Mm. Yeah, man. So like like if the Lord got, named and mocked and shamed, we're gonna have to go through the same thing, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's a like the scripture speaks about the burning wrath. And even Trump in the spirit is Nero, you know, bro. And if you look at his time, in fact, can you type in on chat GBT Nero and the Roman candle and Christians and see what information you actually find. And even type in persecutions in the ancient Rome of Christians. Like let's go into them things because that was what was happening to brothers, and sisters back then. And this is same thing now, but this time is a time of miracles, man. And
Yeah.
eventually, that faith will be tested, but the Lord eventually is gonna make a way for us. I have a quick precept.
So,
All
what do you
right.
want me to load up, bro?
In chat GBT, type in Nero and the persecution of Christians, and like the Roman candle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
said you had a preset, bro?
Yeah. I have a precept. This is Revelation chapter 3 and 10. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon earth. So if you go into the word, keep, right, is terio, which means to attend to carefully, to take care of, to God, to keep one in a state in which he is. All right. So to attend to carefully, to keep to God, which that brings us to Psalms 34, with how the scripture speaks about the angels of the Lord encampeth around them that fear him, because our faith is about to be tested on some
Mm-hmm.
extreme levels, bro. And it's like, even I might have to do a Lord willing, I'll do a separate video on this AI thing and videos, because what Esau's basically done is made it so that basically everyone has, like, basically everyone is in a constant state of confusion where everyone has to doubt fucking everything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what's I was thinking about that as well, because it's like scriptures talk about nothing against the truth but for the truth, right? Because
Mm,
it's like these guys are gonna come down, not to say everyone's gonna be questioned because the witchcraft is strong, right? But you're gonna have certain things like, well, do them people even really say that? And you're seeing that a lot with like the whole Israel thing at the moment,
mm,
right? Where you're
mm,
having a whole load of people just be like, bro, did that even happen? Right. And
yeah.
which is just really showing the power of the Lord, because there was a period of time when Esau could do whatever he wanted and people just like gobble it up like that was true. But like we live
Mm,
in a time now where like people are genuinely like, yo, is this even true? Is this more propaganda? You know what I'm
mm,
saying?
mm. Of course, and it's like, you know that's a good point, because like now, even if you think about it, it's like it makes sense in the spirit as well why the Lord is gonna come with a really grand entrance of salvation. You know what I mean? Because remember that scripture speaks about Matthew, like if they say no. low, come here. You know what I mean? He's there.
Mm,
You know what I mean? Because of AI, bro, you know what I mean? You can really make it look like in some part of the earth and like a desert in South Africa or some shit. You know, the Lord's a white JC came came down
mm.
over there. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And
yeah,
it could look proper real.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and if I can add as well, that's why people ask us, "Oh, why does the color of the
Mm,
Lord matter?" Blah blah blah. But
mm,
it's like, well, that's why, right?
mm,
Because then you know when you read the scriptures, oh no, that's a so-called white geezer. That ain't the real shit, right? And that's why prophecy is important because that's why people have over the period of time, like fallen for the different so-called messiahs because they didn't understand the prophecies, right? Even
mm,
right now, this current situation, we know that yeah, it may stay somewhat hot, but in terms
mm,
of directly leading to World War III, no, we understand that actually no, the MOTB is going to be pushed, right, as the main thing first, you know.
mm. Exactly. Exactly. All right. It says, we shall come upon all the world to try them that to dwell upon earth. And what's the hour of temptation? The hour of temptation is when we're faced with that mark of the beast, man. And it's clear. It's clear. Like, more, like the scripture says, what's that one? The path of the righteous. Hold on.
Oh, let me look
You
at
trying to
that for
park
you.
here? No. Okay, yeah. Um, yeah. I got what's that? Yeah. Yeah, this is Psalms. I believe it's in Psalms. Um, there's there's that scripture that speaks about the path of the righteous shines more day by day. Uh, like if you can find it in
Yeah, just have a look.
ch- check maybe chat GBT. It's there. If you just type in path of the righteous shines more.
Was it Proverbs 4:18?
Uh, let's see. Read it.
It says, but Proverbs 4:18. It says, oh no, it's giving me a different version. Here we go. Right. But the path of the just is as the shining light that shineth more and more unto the perfect day.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So yeah, that's it. It says, "But the path of the just is shining like that, shineth more and more unto the perfect day." And it's like, you know, we're on this path in it, in this faith, this truth, and as you get up to the end, it's being manifest more and more that this is the path of light, and that we have the truth.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like, bro, the mark of the beast is going to be linked with artificial intelligence. It's like artificial intelligence is artificial kind of angels, basically,
Mm-hmm.
where
Basically.
they can schedule you and program you in every which way, like
What
certain prompts. You know what I mean? Like even there's people us know that maybe work in the banking system, and it's like even just from when you speak to people in the banking system, certain like what I mean, like credit checks, and if you can get a credit or if you can get a loan or whatever it may be, these things are completed by just
Yeah, complete
com-
automation.
computers. It's not even people.
Yeah. And you know what was the spirit as well, bro? Like I remember just chatting to someone right? And then like one of the things I was like, so for us, we're a bit younger, so we never really experienced this well. But there was a time when people could just, as an example, just go to an airport, right, and be able to enter, right? But obviously 9/11, advanced security checks. I remember saying to this guy, watch them start using AI for security. Lo and
Mm.
behold, if you read up what Saudi Arabia did for the Hajj, right, they're basically using AI to keep everyone quote unquote safe, right? So then and one of the things as well that they said was they were using the AI to identify people who shouldn't have been there.
Well,
Okay.
it's a perfect example of that. Just the other day, um, Spirit World might even bring it out in the video as well. Um, there was a what's the word? There was a pedophile, right? That was near an environment of like they saw him with a kid, and by the facial recognition scanners, his face picked up on facial
Mm,
recognition. So the police was able to go to him where he was at, stop him being with that child.
damn.
So that proves. See, people were like, "Oh, yeah, that's great," which obviously in that situation is great that that guy was caught and that child was taken care of and protected. However, that gives you an indication that that system exists.
Exactly.
Like that
Exactly.
your face can just be flag up,
Where
which
was
that
this at?
you know what I mean. It was I don't remember what town it was.
It was UK.
Um, it was UK. It was UK. It
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
was
Well,
UK.
but, yeah, and but the reason I ask is kind of like we speak about the systems, that China has, but it's a lot of those systems are
I
here in the
saw.
UK, just in a just packaged differently, right?
Yeah.
Because once again, there are certain things in the UK you just can't do. Like, there is this sense of freedoms, like same in America, there's sense of freedoms that Americans and Brits have so-called enjoyed over the last couple of years, right?
Mm,
Decades rather, right? That you kind of have to come in a different way to bring certain things in. Whereas in China, that man follow rules. So it's like they don't need to do all of them kind of, all of the play that Esau plays over here in the West, right? In China, they can just bring it straight out to be like, yeah, bro, this is what's going on. And I've got a precept
yeah.
as well,
Yeah.
unless
Good.
you had a comment.
No. No. No.
Yeah, this is 2 Corinthians 2:11. Let's say it and should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And when ignorant, you know what I mean, of his plans. Like people see these movies and think these movies are like very far away. These movies are here, bro.
Mm,
These movies are part of our life, man. You know what I'm saying? Like
mm.
these movies are here. These AI, this that. No, just here, fam. These two, you know what I mean? It's real. Even I remember there was an article you shared maybe last month, and it's like there was like a database on like knowing how a person may be able to like stopping a crime before it happens, basically.
Yeah, yeah,
You,
yeah.
you
That's
know?
brothers mentioned it on the thing.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. You see? Like, bro, and it's like the chip will unify all these systems. The chip
That's it.
will unify all these systems, and as well, hey, alarm as well, and
Yeah,
to all the
Shalom.
brothers that are coming board. You know what I mean? Even that brother as well, man. He's a very good brother, that brother. You know what I mean? It's like the chip will unify all these systems. It will unify it. You cannot say you cannot say the mark of the beast isn't the RFID chip, bro.
Mm.
In past, like back in the day, they were talking about chipping migrants.
Yeah.
Like the chip will unify the whole system. Remember, even uh 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 there's a concept, bro. I'm sure you can go into it more in the whole AI world, the data world. It's called the data beast. It's basically like an overarching spectrum of just being able to gather and transmit a lot of information, bro.
Right.
You know what I mean? They was even speaking about and that Palantir video where in the the big bro from Texas was going into it. You know?
Yeah. Like I've not heard that term, but it's just like
Yeah.
what you can do, right? Is so I mean things and I've played with it as well, where basically you've got one data source that looks like this, like you said, let's imagine whatever data source looks like, right? But then you got another data source that expects certain inputs. Whereas before you needed, like, let's say, source A, you needed source A to be able to actually expose a means of getting that data. You no longer have those limitations now, right?
Mm,
Because now you could say, let's say you go on, let's say, the government website for a particular pay, whatever it is, right? The government no longer needs to expose what we refer to in the technical world as an API, right? All the AI needs to do is read the page, and then it's able to identify. Okay, let's say it's trying to think of something trivial. You know what? Okay, in UK we got like food safety ratings, right? That's also listed on like the government websites. Now you can just use the AI to say, okay, what's the name of the company? What's this? What's that? What's their rating? You no longer need to hook directly into the government. Like the AI can just work as a human would do, the same way that you would be able to look at the website and like manually copy and enter the data yourself. The AI can just do these things, right?
mm. You know, in fact, yeah, if you can, very short, type in AI, well, type GBT, and ask it, and just say the term, put in that term, data beast, and
What is the date?
even
What does the term database mean?
yeah.
What does the term
But
database?
before we uh, go into the that verse, if there's actually more in the one in Proverbs. If you read the next verse,
Yep.
you know
Okay. So
what?
what?
Yeah, go ahead. Verse
Uh,
19. Yeah,
okay, this one just has it as this, right? It says, "But the day of the just is as the shining light that shineth
mm,
more and more unto the perfect day. The way the
yeah,
wicked is as darkness; they know not at what they stumble. My son,
yeah, man.
attend to my
Yeah, go ahead.
my son, attend to my words. Incline thine ear unto my sayings."
Yeah, man. And it's like, because like in this time period of darkness, right? This light is shining more and more. It's like, well, we're actually seeing on a daily basis how these people are in darkness, man. These people don't know what's going on. Like these
Mm,
people don't know what's about to come up on the earth, and it's like that's why this word and truth, it has to be kept upon our minds, man.
mm.
To be a actual God for wisdom and knowledge that make us stable in these times. Because again, even on what we're talking about, like on artificial intelligence, bro, Esau, the scripture speaks about a sword is sharpened, man. So
Mm,
they're like they're sharpening their tools with what they're going to obviously use to, let's say torture camps and, concentration camps or whatever it may be. But also they're sharpening their science. They're like, they actually roll these things out and make it viral before people,
mm.
not knowing they're gathering the information.
That's it.
Like a prime example is these social media apps,
Yes.
Snapchat,
Yeah.
you know, like what we see now with AI videos and laugh how it just looks like real people. But guess what, bro? A lot of these faces are faces of real people, bro,
Yeah, that have been uploaded. And
that have been uploaded.
yeah, to prove what the brother's going into, of just like there are two perspectives, right? So you've got the perspective of just let's look at the Western apps, right? You've got like Facebook, which is very much about this is my family, this is who I went to school with, this is like where I went to school, this is my mom and my dad, etc., etc., etc. Then you had Twitter. Twitter was very much a thing of this is what I'm thinking right now, right? This is what I'm doing. These are my thoughts. Then you had Instagram, which was, oh, these are the places I like to go. This is how I look when I'm dressed up. But then you also had Snapchat, which, because of the nature of the fact that it was disappearing video imagery, it will be a thing where it's like, oh, this is how I look when I'm in my bedroom. This is how I look when I'm, not, let's say maybe not made up and stuff like that, right? So it was effectively a full spectrum of who's my family, how do I look when I'm dressed up, how do I look when I'm not dressed up, what am I thinking, right? And then just the last point, if I may, one of the things I've always found interesting is like the major axes, if you will, of governments all have their own social media. So you look at Russia, Russia has VK. You look at China, China has WeChat, right? Then you look at the West, we have the Meta group of software, right? So what's that telling you? It's telling you that all of these different governments are actually using these information gathering tools for exactly that, for gathering information.
That's it. That's it, man. And you know what? That brings us to that brings us to what's that scripture, man? This is Jeremiah 5:6. It says, "Wherefore a lion at the forest shall slay them." You know what? Let's start from verse Baruch Shah. Um, let's start. Yeah, let me start from 3. And it says, "O Lord, are not thine eyes upon the truth? Thou hast stricken them, but they have not grieved. Thou hast consumed them, but they have refused to receive correction. They have
Mhm.
made their faces harder than a rock. They have refused to return." And bro, like our people have been persecuted enough to know why what's happening to them is happening, because guess what? The
Mhm.
truth is out there. You know what I'm saying? Like with all the daily struggles our people go through, the truth is readily available to the point people scoff at it. So
Mm.
that's how available the truth is. The truth is so available for people to see that people scoff at it. You
Yeah.
know, and it's like when you try to give a spiritual context to everything that's going on, people they ain't trying to hear it. You know. So what does it say? Therefore, I said, surely these are poor, right? Because you know what? That they're poor in spirit. You know, we're rich in spirit. They're poor in spirit because real riches and values is what. So if you don't
Mm.
have it, then you don't have nothing. You might have the biggest cars, you might have everything, but really you have nothing.
Mm.
We have everything because
Yeah.
this truth is everything. When you really think about it, this path is saying the wicked, sinful, unclean world that we're in is going to change. Like we're talking liberations, you know, for our people, for
Mm.
their mindset. Really, the earth. Like
Mhm.
plants are going to be free. Fucking animals are going to be free. The other nations going to be in slavery. And after 1,000 years, to see the wickedness, Esau is going to be exterminated, and
Yeah.
just a righteous rule. Like this earth was supposed to be a paradise. Yep.
Yep.
Go, bro.
So I've got a
Just about
preset
to
on
make a
what
point.
you was just saying, right? It's Proverbs
Yeah, yeah,
8 verses 10 and 11. Receive my instruction and not silver, and knowledge rather than choice gold, for wisdom is
yeah.
better than root.
It truly is. It is better than rubies. It
Mhm.
truly is better than rubies, man. Because you know, like you might have a lot of like of lack of rubies, and
Mm.
and not have the wisdom and take the chip. So you're gonna die anyway.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And it's like this path is the path to salvation, man.
Yeah.
You know? And it says, uh, have you got more on that? You was
Oh
gonna
yeah,
read it.
just finishing off. It says, and all things that may be desired are not to be compared to it.
Yeah, man, because guess what? Riches profit not in the day of wrath.
Mm.
You know, but righteousness, can save you from death, which this wisdom is righteousness if it's applied, by doing the work,
That's right.
you know, you know. It says, therefore it says, surely these are poor, they are foolish, for they know not the way of the Lord, nor the judgment of their power. I will get me unto the great men, and will speak unto them, for they have known the way of the Lord, and the judgment of their power. But these altogether have broken the yoke and burst the bonds.
Mm.
Wherefore a lion of the forest shall slay them, right? And a wolf of the evenings shall spoil them. A leopard shall watch over their cities, and everyone that goeth out thence shall be torn into pieces, because their transgressions are many, and their backslidings, are increased. And it's like obviously that ties into obviously the judgments that's gonna come, right? The deaths, the judgments that's gonna come, but in spirit as well. The part where it speaks about leopard shall watch over the cities in spirit, that also applies to the surveillance, man, right? Whether it's the FBI, the NSA, the MI6, and shit. This AI, in- Internet of Things, the Internet of Bodies lifestyle that's about to come up on the earth, bro. Once you merge the chip with AI, it's cooked, because they've spoken about um Doctor GBT. It's basically chat GBT, but basically it, it, it can use in, what I mean, in health,
Mm-hmm.
because the Internet of Bodies is merging you with the internet. So if you- if you got like a chip in your blood, where, do you remember DARPA spoke about that? DARPA spoke
Mm.
about chips to detect if you got the C19,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 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 yeah.
and it's like, you remember with it, it, it Esau, like in his system and contracts. Normally, when you sign your contracts, you give your rights away for a certain service. You give your consent to a certain service, right? So if
Mm-hmm.
you take the chip, you basically given
Your consent.
consent to
Yep.
be a slave, man. It
Yep.
comes to many things.
And that can I add as well?
Yeah,
You get people that have that fear of, oh, what if he sneaks up on me? No, 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 no. That's not what he wants. He wants you.
yeah,
Yeah, he wants you to consent. Right?
yeah,
That's the thing. He wants you to consent. And I remember during the CV, right? Because let's be real, man, we all have family members that took that shit, right?
yeah.
But like, guess what? They had to sign a consent form, right? To
Mhm.
be like, yes, I will take this. And you may be like, ah, because of X, Y, Z. No, but it's like Esau wants you to say, yes, I now worship you, right? And then that is the sealing of it, right? Sort of like how you may be, let's say, certain people, certain cultures, the husband and wife may be betrothed, right? But until the that consummation, what you call it? I'm trying to think. Yeah, you can have like two people betrothed, but until that consummation, that sex, right? That spilling of blood, it's not the union isn't finalized. Okay, and that's
Mm.
what Esau wants. He wants you to finalize that union first by saying yes, and then two by taking that mark. Right? He's not just going to
Yeah.
sneak it up on you. He wants you to consent.
And a spiritual example of that. Remember, the old wise man in the Maccabees. Like,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
they wanted him to consent mentally and eat.
Mm-hmm.
Even with the seven
Exactly.
brothers and Maccabees, like, they could have just stuffed the pork down their throat,
Mm-hmm.
But no, they wanted to willingly open your mouth, consent, and eat it.
Yeah, and they offered what bribes? Yeah, man. Hey, look, man. Hey, if you just eat the swine, man. Look, man, I'll
Exactly.
make you rich. I'll make it worth your
Exactly.
while. Hey, look what I did to your brothers, man. Which goes to show you, Esau's the devil, bro.
He's
Here
a
it
devil.
is. You just killed off his brothers, right?
Yeah.
Like maimed them, distorted them, right? Fried some of them in the pan, right? But then I'm gonna be different. I'm the one that you're gonna sit at your right hand. Esau's got to pay, man.
Yeah. And really, if we look at the history of Esau, he likes to traumatize you first before you consent to what he wants to do.
Hmm.
It's just how like Jake was a butt broken. Slavery, that whole process. The Willie Lynch letter and all that. He wants you to be traumatized, so you're prepared to be a better slave, and that's what they want to do with the idea of the Hegelian dialectic. You know,
Hmm.
by pressure on both sides, man. You know, and he
Hmm.
comes with the way of salvation.
That's
So
it.
that's why with these concentration camps, with these martial law, with the, the engineered chaos and starvation and everything, he's gonna pull people left and right, that they gonna see him as the way of salvation.
Hmm.
As scripture says, if you um woe unto him that go into Egypt, for help, man.
Well, that's it. That's it. Can I get this as well, real quick? Just on
Yep.
and on consent, right? It's the second Ezra 16:69, and they that consent unto them, right, shall be had in derision and reproach and trodden underfoot, right? So it's like he definitely wants you to consent and to be down with the program that he's on, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So
Yeah, man. Because you're basically making a blood co- covenant, man.
mm,
You know what I mean? You're basically confirming with blood you're down with this.
that's it.
So that's why it's like, it's important to know what the mark of the beast is.
Hmm.
Like, come on, man. Like, the mark of the beast is such a big thing in the scriptures that we're gonna be vague about it and not know about it. Makes no sense, bro.
Hmm.
It makes no sense at all, bro. But guess what? Time will tell.
That's
You
it.
know, you know what I mean. When these things come to pass, then you go, no, a prophet have been among them, man.
That's it.
You know, but let's get Psalms 33 and 18,
Hmm.
and after that Psalms 91, because the spirit made us basically go into another lesson. You know what I'm saying? You know, spirit went into the technology and
Mm,
of things, but that it actually goes hand in hand with
yeah,
the salvation,
yeah, and
because
and then
yeah,
sorry.
so like it. And as well, after your point, don't forget the stuff in the database
Yeah, yeah,
as
that's
well.
I've got that loaded. That one, and also you asked for previously the Nero
Yeah,
as well.
exactly. Yeah, double shot.
Um, yeah, 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 no, no, as well. But it's because when you were saying one of the things was about mindset and really just understanding where this technology is going. Right, you think about your job. Your all these jobs are gone. Right. I saw a video allegedly coming out of China. Oh, I say it was out of China, but like allegedly showing an entire like mine which is completely automated to the point where
Mm,
like the robots are talking to rather the trucks are like talking to each other and stuff like that, right? So it's no longer because at first I kind of thought, like desk jobs will be like the first kind of ones to go. Like design right now, if you're a designer, you're a bit fucked.
mm,
Excuse my French, but it's like, I did a bit of interior design in the yard, and it's something that, would have cost me a couple £100, right? I was able to do for free, right?
mm,
Using the chat GPT. In with you look at these different tools are able to generate software code and stuff like that, right? But it's actually the fact that it's moving into the real world, right? The brother talked about the robot doctors and stuff. You are actually having like robots doing kind of surgery right now. It's like remotely operated, but there was like a doctor, for instance, that basically was like he was holding up an X-ray and it was like, yo, I'm cooked, right? It was like this AI was able to detect what the issue was just from the imagery. It's like, why do you need
Wow.
me here anymore? You know?
Mm,
So then when it's then going into like, heavy machinery type of jobs, it's just
mm.
like, yo, like what really can you do? So it's like getting into the mindset that these jobs that we have, they're gonna be no more. But the scriptures prophesy that, right? They shall be, the grinding is low, right? So you're gonna have situations where there's barely work. There shall be no work for Egypt, right? And then also it's just the mindset as well of how we're just gonna be made to look crazy, right? And you've got
Yeah,
our main slanderer vocab, right? Or it just keeps coming around, man. It's like no one wants you around. Just f off,
yeah,
man.
yeah. That guy's gonna come back around.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's you know what I mean. Like his suit that he's had for like 5 years. That when the time comes, the guy gonna pop out the blue.
mm.
With his suit. I'm like, hey, I'm a Hebrew Israelite, expert. But don't be surprised if one day, yeah, Volkan has an interview on a stream with a fucking AI person posing as a
Yeah,
Hebrew Israelite, and he's
yeah, dude.
asking questions, and then they've already got the pre-answered questions.
Set up. Well, but going back to the account of Second Ezra 6, right, with the wise old man Eliezer, you no
Mhm.
longer need the real Eliezer. You actually
Yeah,
no longer need the real Eliezer. You can just have a video generated of the man Eliezer eating the swine, right? And that's a
yeah.
and that's why scriptures talk about one about being what's the word, man? Brother Ahab said it the other day, man. When Virgo, what do you say? Fully persuaded.
Fully, fully persuaded.
You have to be fully persuaded, right? In this for yourself, right? Because they're gonna for all we know, they're gonna have videos looking like brothers taking the mark, man. Right?
For
You
real,
you
for
gotta be
real.
strong that you're not taking the mark.
Hey, what's an example of that? Like, it became a meme when people thought it was funny, which is not funny. I don't know why people thought that shit was funny. But recently, it was a meme of like, remember, it was a meme, like a prank meme of people will go on the street, take a picture of a guy's face, like in a store. And what they'll do as a prank is they show the shopkeeper of him kissing a man. Like,
Right.
they'll literally just like, let's say a person's taking a picture of you randomly in a store. They'll be like, I saw a video of you online going viral on TikTok. And they basically made an AI video of his person and another man having a kiss. And the
Damn.
guy's like, bro, it's not me. He's like, what are you talking? It's not me. It's not me. People thinking that shit's funny.
Mm,
They can do the same thing for so many things.
so many things.
Like
So many
fucking
things.
sex tapes. Even
Mm,
remember,
mm.
was it making like that? Which that industry is evil anyway. But the porn industry is under threat. Because they could just make
Yeah,
a
it is.
fucking AI of
Eh,
just a whole fucking everything.
yeah, so that I actually one of the guys I used to work with had a family member or something like that. I forget the relation, where his company was actually working on building basically made to order adult entertainment, right? Because
Wow.
it's like you think about something like the fan page. I'll just call it that, right? The fan page, right? You've got
Yeah.
tons and tons of video, and this is the thing. The AI works off of a lot of data, right?
Patents and algorithms.
Exactly, and then it basically takes that data and then it then does a lot of probability, right? So then when you're saying that the fan page has all of those videos, and then now you no
That's a
longer
lot
need
of
to
yeah,
pay. Yeah,
yeah,
that's a lot of source data, and you now no longer have to pay those content creators at all.
yeah.
Like it's
Bro,
just pure
it,
profits now.
and And even bro, do you remember with like cartoons, like the the early days cartoons, like
Mm.
Looney Tunes and Mickey Mouse, even a lot of them Mickey Mouse. You know what I mean? Um, them movie um them first movies we used to watch, Lion King and Shrek and all them kind of things. Yeah, remember a lot of them. If you watch a lot of those older cartoons and movies, certain scenes have the pre-formulated scripts and movements, the actual movement of the characters, which will be the same in another cartoon. Like so, let's say Tom and Jerry are fighting next door, or whatever it is, right? They're like running through the house. The animation, like structure, is the same in another cartoon, but they just changed the faces and characters. Just
Yeah. When you look at a lot of Disney stuff, a lot
Disney
of it
stuff.
is reused. Yeah, if you look at it, just reused Disney. I'll look for it. Reused. I won't play it because obviously
Yeah,
you know how YouTube does. But it's
yeah,
like
yeah,
reused Disney cartoons. I think if I ask,
yeah, yeah. It's
yeah,
like,
7 recycled Disney scenes.
mm,
I'll just show the thing. You can go watch it for yourself.
but the
Because
point I'm making with that, even to tie what we were talking about, the AI, scenes and stuff. Oh yeah, exactly. The AI scenes and stuff, so they can get patterns of like you know adult entertainment from real life situations, and they would just have various scripts, various scripts. So if you type in a certain word, whatever you want comes up.
hmm
And even with us on video like at a camp, so they can get your mannerisms of the
hmm
pattern in which you speak. Even me, I mean, I got speech impediment. So they can grab that personality trait or trait
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
just
yeah.
make you look like fucking anything on video, man.
Yeah, this that's a good point that the brothers just made because even in 'cause I used the example of the fans page, but they do the spirit. How many videos are there of Akim, man?
Yeah, of
Right?
like data.
Yeah, and it's showed us from from when we were young men,
Yeah,
pre-grays,
yeah, 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 yeah.
and everything
Yep,
like that. You
yep,
know, so
yep.
all of the swing and weight.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Zuf, pre-Zuf, and that. So,
Yeah,
so, so,
yeah,
so it's
that
like
is,
they can create like videos of like times before, like let's say they could be, oh yeah, this is what he was doing 10 years ago. Why? Because
exactly.
there's tons of videos of us from 10 years ago. Once again, speech is something that doesn't really change that much as well.
Mm.
So it's peak, man. It's peak, man.
Which is why we're gonna need miracles, bro. All right.
Yeah.
I have a preset.
I've got one from the
Matthew,
comment board after as well.
Matthew 24 and 24, and yeah, read some as well on the comment board. It's funny, man. I feel like changing the title, like because the spirit is
Yeah.
ready to go on something else, but it is what it is, man. It says, for there shall Matthew 24 and 24, for there shall rise false anointed, right, and false prophets, and that's what we're seeing, man. These false camps, like, bro, the apostles and elders of great multitude on down have been consistent with the doctrine for years, like for years, for centuries. Well, in spirit, centuries, but you know what I mean. Like we've been for decades. Sorry, you know what I'm saying. It's been consistent on what the market is, what's going on, and we're seeing it take shape. And then you got these kinds of like IAYC. They're trying to kind of creep it in there. But no, what
Mm.
we said was no. Just shut up, man. We fucking know what you guys are on. Like that in terms of the vaccinations. You know, there's one clip of Bishop Nate telling the congregation to take the vaccine. Then he
Mm.
changed his mind, and then now there was another guy who's kind of saying, like if you took the vaccine, then you're most likely going to take. the mark of the beast when the mark of the beast come.
Mm.
You know what I mean? It just shows you, man. Scripture says, don't meddle with them that are given to change.
Mm.
You know, go ahead, bro.
Yep.
Yeah, Matthew 24. Sorry, I was reading it. It says, false prophets and show great signs and wonders, right? Some great signs and wonders, man. And guess what? Them shit with them fucking AI, man. You could do them great signs and wonders, man.
Yeah.
In so much, if they were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. But it's not going to be possible, you know, because it's like
That's it.
there's like real, there's real life uh, AI, man, where you can just get your phone out and look at a certain planet in your environment, and it, like, bro, do you remember? Um, we was using it to like give, give an idea, like on rooms,
Mm.
where it would change your whole room and show what you could do in your room, right?
Exactly.
What if they come up with a secret app where you pull out your phone and go live in real time, and what you want to happen in the scene plays out with the person on camera,
Mm-hmm.
where it makes it look like someone's punching someone or someone's stabbing someone. Fuck it, you know what I mean? It's like it's got to that stage, man.
Yeah,
So the
it'll
whole
be
world is gonna come against us, man.
that's it. And then even just I'll just play this one. Hopefully that it doesn't cause any issues. Right. Share this tab. So it's just like you watch this stuff like that, and the
Yeah,
thing is
yeah.
it make me looking real as well. And it's talking to like a talking like polar bear, bro.
Talking to a polar bear. You know, don't even be surprised if they come with a movie industry on this. AI
Oh, there
complete, man.
already is. There is. Yeah, yeah, it's already
Wow,
started. You're actually
wow.
even seeing AI video creator, like as in like it's an actual like title now. That's like, bro, what the hell is going on?
Wow. Wow. Wow.
You know.
Yeah,
But yeah, the one I
yeah.
wanted on the comment board was actually the Mark version of what you just read.
Huh.
But let me read this as well, right? This is Second Thessalonians 2:9 and the NLT, right? It says, "This man will come to do the work of Satan with counterfeit power and signs and miracles."
Mm, Countable power signs and miracles, man. You know what I'm saying? And that's you know that's them you know enchantments, man.
Hmm.
You know, you know what I mean? That's what it is. You know, stand now with an enchantments where it's labored from that youth, obviously from the inception of Babylon. They've labored in like in wickedness and witchcraft, and it's even got to the point now that with their think tanks and their scientists, they're straight up doing witchcraft, bro. Yeah, and bro, that AI is witchcraft, man.
Yeah, yeah.
That's like a pocket demon, which
Hmm.
demon means what, man? Your intelligence. It's literally a artificial demon.
Mm.
You know what I mean? When you really think about it, because to just make things appear, reappear, and seem as it's not is, like what I mean. The serpent is subtle, man.
Yeah. This is good things. It's because you was talking about that. This is in this episode, right? What's next? The future with Bill Gates, episode 1, right? When you kind of watch this, one of the things that I found very interesting, right, is one, like they had like a slide where in the back it said, quote in quotes, "God in a box." Right, because that's effectively what they're trying to do, right? You read Ezekiel the 28th chapter, right? It speaks about how he wants to set himself up as the Most High, but then continuing on, it also says that he is wiser than Daniel, right? So basically, he's using this wisdom that the Most High has given him, right? Because he doesn't understand it's the Most High that's given it to him to basically try and make himself more godlike, right? That was one thing. But then another point as well, right? Because the thing is, there's the interface that we use, right? When we use Chat GPT, Google Gemini, right? There's the interface that we're using, right? However, there's a whole other side in the background that is kind of doing its own thing, right? And one of the researchers that works, I think it was at OpenAI, was like, we don't really understand how it works. It just kind of do it. It's just kind of doing what it's doing, right? Which tells you everything you need to know. That is, this is actually you actually dealing with like spirits, if you will, you know.
Of
From time, the
course.
people who coded it don't know how it's really working. It's just doing it. They're like, you know,
Uh, make it happen, innit? Uh,
making it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, man. Which is why we're gonna need salvation, man. We're gonna need miracles, man. The Lord's gonna have to come through for us. The
Mm,
Lord's gonna have to come through for us if we're his elect, man. Cause
that's it.
shit, like, bro, once this is all linked into one system, you cannot function like you cannot. You remember in Little Britain, bro? Computer says no.
Yeah.
Like that's how it's gonna really be.
That's a
And it's
computer says no.
yeah, and it's like it's real. It's like that's really how it's coming. Because the system is gonna be so tight that you generally cannot function without that. You know what I mean? Like it, if you don't have what they want for the system, you cannot
Mm.
function.
Yeah. Well,
Like
the exact.
like there's stores like if you don't have contactless, you cannot pay.
Yeah, you
You
can't
can't
pay
pay.
that.
There's not no you cannot pay.
Well, look at the London transit system.
Yeah,
You can't
yeah.
if you haven't got contactless, you can't get on. Even if you
You
got
can't get
cash,
on,
you can't get on.
bro. It
You
don't
may
matter
have
if you
a
have a
50.
grand scan. Yeah,
Yeah, I
a
was saying
grand scan.
you can have a 50, but it's like,
Yeah,
yeah, brother, hey, brother.
bro.
That's the inflation prices.
Inflation prices. Yeah, like
A grand
you
to get
know.
on. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, but it's
it's for
real.
real.
It's real.
You know.
It's real because even in the UK, right, when you look at how the system is kind of set up here, right, a lot of and this goes to show just how. In fact, let me grab this first, right? Let me grab this first, and I'll continue on. Right, this is Psalms, right, 64, and I'll read a few bits. Right, it's Psalm 64. I'm going to read two and then jump down. Right, it says, "Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, right, from the workers of insurrection, from the insurrection of the works of iniquity." Right, because these things that we're about to see, these are things that the elites have been, planning and plotting together for a long time in the so-called darkness. Right, but the point that I wanted was verse 6, right? They search out iniquities, they accomplish a diligent search, both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep, right? So these, they're planning deep things, right? They are,
Mhm.
just basically plotting and like very patient in their plotting, right? Because when it came to, we had a foreign minister, whatever her role was, right? Theresa May, and she completely switched up the entire system, right? On the premise of what? On the premise of immigration, right?
Mhm.
So now, whereas before you could kind of like skate through life in the UK without paperwork, because you'd
Yeah.
have people that worked in what do you call it, that worked in the healthcare system, right? That went to school, had bank and stuff like that, but they weren't legal to be in the UK, right? But then what Theresa May did is she basically changed the law such that now if you want to rent anywhere, you've got to prove that you've got the paperwork to rent, right? If you want to open a bank account, you've got to prove that you have the right to be in the UK, right?
Uh,
And to make money that way, right? So basically, what we saw is a Trojan horse where now it's very easy to upgrade those systems and just be like, well, to do anything now, you need to have to prove your ID because the infrastructure already exists.
uh,
Okay. And once again,
exactly.
just the last point is the CV taught you this because when people started questioning the technology and the juice, what did they all come out and say? Well, actually, we've been working on these things for the last 10 years, right? But we didn't know. That wasn't
Exactly.
mainstream to us, right? But they were
Exactly.
working on them. Right? But whereas these systems, through the Spirit, the Lord put the Spirit, the apostles, bishops, elders on down, right, for Arkham to be looking into these technologies and seeing how they very nicely and easily link to create the MOTB structure. Okay.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. That's it. Did you have that Psalms 33?
Yep, this is Psalms 33 and 18. Behold, the eye of Yahweh is upon them that fear him, upon them that hope in his mercy, to deliver their soul from death and to keep them alive in famine.
Yep, go ahead.
Our soul waiteth for Yahweh. He is our help and our shield. For our
He's
heart
not.
shall
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
for our heart shall rejoice in him, because we have trusted in his holy name.
Because we have trusted in his holy name, man. We trusted in his holy name. So in the midst of famine, in the midst of tribulation, you know, the Lord is gonna make a way, man,
Mhm.
for his elect. You know, we're gonna need a miracle, man.
Oh yeah. Oh, bro, did you see what I shared the other yesterday, bro?
Ah, nah, I didn't see it, bro. What did you share?
Bro, hey,
I probably saw it,
look,
but you
man.
shared
Hey,
a lot to be fair.
we need the Lord, man. You know what I'll try to do? I'll try to download it and maybe just do a video just on that. But basically, it was like a mini drone, right?
Hmm.
And then basically the drone had like a camera and AI. Right. And what the guy did is he had trained it on like a mannequin and he threw the drone into the crowd, right? And then it basically like found the target, which was this mannequin, went on the stage, right? And then like immediately, like bam, hit the guy. But as it's a little drone like that big, but it's got a payload that basically shoots something directly into your brain and it basically explodes your brain, right?
Fuck,
And this was, I was watching this, I was like, yo,
Wow. Saw the
yo,
shopping. Saw the shopping,
all
but
this sharpen, man. Yo, we need the Lord, man. We need the Lord. Like I said, maybe I'll just download it, maybe just do a quick vid on that, right? Because it
uh,
is that is the precept to consider. That the sword is sharpened and also furbished, right? It's sharpened. Right? Should we then make mirth?
uh,
You know. So
yep.
yeah,
And
we gonna need the Lord, man, because yo, bro, it's
uh,
clinical as well, bro. It's clinical, no collateral, right? It found who it needed to find, right? And then that was it, game over.
uh, it's funny. I'm just looking at AI weapons. It said in 10th of February, right? It says Google drops um pledge, right, to not develop AI weapons.
Mm-hmm.
Google has
Yeah,
dropped an ethical pledge to not develop artificial intelligence systems that can be used as weapon or surveillance system. And the thing is,
mm-hmm.
yeah, you know why? You know how Esau's a smart devil? Because even in that Palantir video, when it's breaking down how it can be used, yeah, all they do is make private tech company startups
Yeah,
that provide the same service,
exactly.
and and then it won't be like because it's like
Private
it's
company.
a private company.
Mm-hmm.
They're subject to whatever they want to do,
Yeah,
and you as a country or government can just sublet or
exactly.
subcontract,
Subcontract. Yeah,
yeah, subcontract that service. So
yeah,
whether it's passing to law or not, or whether a government company can do it or not, that don't matter because the private company can do it, and you can just go and subcontract the company. Esau's a
exactly.
devil.
Esau's the devil, and you know what? Once again, that there's 2 points there. The first one being like going back to what I said earlier on in the lesson, right? Whereas like a lot of these systems and plays are already here. It's just
They're already
because
there,
the
bro.
West is a certain way, you have to
Yeah,
bring it out a certain way. Just even
yeah.
the fact that when the UK went into lockdown, What was the driver, right? Boris Johnson clearly said we're not a country that locks down. However, Arsenal, Manchester United, that got cancelled, right?
Yep.
Private businesses were the ones that were like, actually, we're going to close. So then it was like, well, we're just going to follow the company, what what the public want. And then also when you look at the situation with SpaceX's military arm, right? So SpaceX's military arm is providing assistance to the Ukrainian army, right? But no one can say, we know that they are, but the American government can say, no, we're not in that war because technically speaking, they're not. A private American company is, right? Whereas these
Exactly.
other companies are a lot more bold. And then just on the point of the pledge, right? What kind of came to mind is like all of these different senators that have pledged to never allow the MOTB.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Or how with the tribes, he made a lot of treaties with
Mhm.
the tribes to not do stuff, but he just went back on his word.
100%.
So that's Esau for you, man. That's
Mm,
Esau for you, man. You
yep.
know.
I've got a precept just
Yep.
on that. It says
Yep.
Psalms 5 and 20 says he hath put forth his hand against such as be at peace with him. He hath broken his covenant.
Yep. Carry on to the next verse.
Words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His
That's
words were
it.
softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords.
Yeah, man. You know, so that's why you can never trust your enemy. So why would you trust the
Mhm,
chip? Why would
mhm.
you trust the mark of the beast?
That's
Like
it.
that's just the number one thing of all things, he says, to not trust him in anything.
Yep. And
You know,
just because it's on the money on the topic, right? It's Psalm 55:22 now, right? It says, cast thy burden upon Yahweh, and he shall sustain thee. He shall
mm,
never suffer the righteous to be moved.
that's what's gonna happen. Like, he's gonna sustain us, bro. The Lord's gonna have to do miracles, bro. He's gonna have to. Because it's either that or we just be exterminated.
Mm,
Because see, no one is truly ever off grid because you have the information of who's on grid. So those who
mm.
are off, you know they're off.
Yeah, yeah,
You,
yeah, yeah.
you know what I mean? It's like it's you know what I mean. It's like say like uh you've got a private a voting system at work for like say was a company issue, and you know the exact amount of staff on site, but you got four people that don't vote. You will know who's not voted by those that ain't voted.
Exactly. Yeah, I
So
mean,
so
people think that they can hide from the grid. That's impossible.
mhm,
It's impossible. He knows. And well, if I can, this is the article that I referenced earlier because it's pertinent, right, to what the brother just says. The Saudis, this is from France 24. It says Saudis use AI, drones, and thousands of cameras to keep Hajj pilgrims safe. I jump down
mm,
to the bottom, right? It says, yeah, not everyone is able to secure or afford one of the official permits, which are allocated to countries by quotas and awarded to individuals by lottery. To try to stop anyone sneaking in this year, a fleet of camera equipped drones is monitoring entrances into the thing, right? I don't even like saying that word, man. Right? It says we use AI and other tools like drones and thermal imaging cameras, right? The director said, right? So then that also, so this is it. These are people that aren't supposed to be there, right? I.e., people that are off grid in this instance, right? They have no legal permit to be there. That means the systems knew who was supposed to be there, and if the face didn't match up, it'll be like, yo, what you doing, son?
exactly, exactly. This is why we're gonna need miracles, man. You know, hey, bro, I'm definitely gonna have to like adjust the title. I'm gonna have to
Okay.
adjust the title, but you know, it's basically the same concept because it's like we've showed him the spirit, the times that's coming, the evil that's coming, and why we gonna need salvation. You know what I
Mm.
mean? How the Lord's gonna come through. So, you know what? Can we end with Psalms 91? And yeah, we're gonna leave it there.
So this is do you want me to read into it or start from a particular spot?
Read into it.
All right, so this is Psalms 91 from the top. It says, He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty.
Yeah, and what's that secret place? This truth. This truth
Mm,
is for the world to see, but it's hidden in plain sight because it's only for the elect.
that's it.
You know? Yeah.
That's
Right.
it. That's it. Right. It
Yeah,
says,
and when it says I abide under the shadow, that's that what, man? That's the protection, that hedge.
mm,
Because if we're the elect around us, man, and we have a hedge,
mm,
that you can't see. It's in that. I keep forgetting that video, um that chat, that video in the chat, where it's like a cartoon character, a man of God, walking with his family, and you see the angels around him protecting him. You just see the angels around him, and you see the demons on people. How these people are walking
mm.
around with demons on them. That's real.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
real,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
That's real life, man. Right?
Yep. It says, I will say of Yahweh, He is my refuge and my fortress. My God, in
Mhm,
Him will I trust.
mhm,
Surely He shall
yeah.
deliver thee.
In like yeah, like in him what I trust.
Mm.
That's why all of that, going to ranges, pepper spraying in your eyes and
Oh,
you punching
man.
mitts.
Are you a
That's a
real?
like even what you did. Like you even mentioned that bot that was the drone with the thing with a mannequin.
Mm. Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
you think, hey, you think the time you think Esau gonna need pepper spray in this time coming. You think he gonna need pepper spray, bro? He ain't gonna need pepper spray. He gonna pepper you.
Mm-hmm.
He ain't gonna need pepper spray. Oh, pepper spray.
Yeah, exactly.
I ain't gonna do shit this time.
Them Edomites are just like in a room somewhere, just laughing at you, Jakes, man. Right?
Laughing the head off, bro.
Superfluous. Right? Those things are superfluous, man.
Mm, yep.
Goes on to say, surely he shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence.
Mm,
He shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler.
mm.
It says, Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day.
Yeah, man. Them judgments, and obviously that those nukes, man. That's gonna come at the height of his power, because as remember, like as everything we're seeing life as we know it, so- society as we know it is breaking down.
Mm,
You know what I mean? Things are breaking down. Like people are losing their heads. People are losing their mind. Like things are breaking down before their eyes, bro. You know what I'm
that's
saying?
it.
And it's like what's left. It's just for the Lord to come. But
That's
that's why it's
it.
gonna come as a thief in the night, man. Because people's minds are gonna be so all over the place, distracted, and just the Lord's gonna come. The Lord's gonna come. It's gonna be heavy, man. Good.
That's it. Right. So it says, nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday.
Hmm. That's
A
it.
thousand, a thousand shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee.
Mhm.
It says
Because of
only
that
when.
hedge, man.
Mhm.
Because of that hedge for his elect.
Yeah, and
Right?
and this is why we do this, man. Right? This is why we do this because it's just like once again when you're looking at what's happening, the advancements in technology, and hey, you know what?
Mm,
Ask them Palestinians, man.
mm,
Right? Even as the elder in his video, one of the things he pointed out was like, yo, how do they, when you start looking at Palantir, you can be like, oh, that's how they knew where everyone was, right?
mm.
Just the ability for them to just find you and take you out. Like this is crazy. I mean, what did they say? And once again, it goes to show that Esau is a hypocrite, right?
Yeah.
He is that bloody man. Because what did Trump say? Look, man, we know where you are. We ain't gonna kill you for now, Bro, that's some gangster shit, man.
That's some
Excuse my
gangster.
French, so lucky. Yeah, but that's some hella gangsterism, bro. And the thing is,
Yeah.
it's like you've seen your second or third in command, Soleimani, get taken out. I think they said what they identified it from his ring, right?
Wow.
He's seen like all of them different scientists, and other personnel just get taken out. So if you're him, you're like, yo, these man ain't rampant. Like if they saying
Mm,
they know where I am, they know where I am. You know
mm,
what I'm saying? And once again, when Lozo Excel tried to do a video on that little drone, right? But like I said, it was a little drone. So imagine, what other stuff that they've developed that they can just, be a lot more covert with, right? Just goes
mm.
into like a vent, an air vent, and stuff like that. And then before you know it, it's just like bam. You know what I'm
Wow.
saying? So this is a new world we're in, man. We need that protection, man, for real, for real.
Yeah, and guess what? With all their weapons, it's not going to be a match for the Lord.
Hmm.
It's not going to be a match for the Lord when he comes back.
That's it. In fact, just on that, right? This
Mm.
is Isaiah 59 and 19,
Yeah, the
right? It
spirit.
says, yeah, it says, so shall they fear the name of Yahweh from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the spirit of Yahweh shall lift up a standard against him.
That's it. That's exactly what's going to happen, man. That's exactly what's going to happen. And so, what's that standard? That's that spiritual power. That's that salvation.
So,
What I mean. That's what's about to happen, man. You know.
yeah.
Uh,
So, back in Psalms 91 and 8 now, it says, only with thine eyes shall thou behold and see the reward of the wicked,
uh,
because thou
yeah,
hast
because
made that.
you're gonna get beamed up, man.
Mm,
You know. Good.
yeah, it says, because thou hast made Yahweh, which is my refuge, even the Most High, thy habitation. They shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. For he shall give his angels charge over thee to keep thee in all thy ways. They
Mm,
shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. It says, thou shalt tread upon a lion and adder, the young lion and the dragon shall thou trample under feet. Because he hath set his love upon me, therefore will I deliver him. I'll set him on
mhm.
high because he hath known my name.
Knowing my name, so ultimately it's gonna come down to being predestined and chosen and knowing that name, man. And
Hmm.
then miracles gonna be happening, man.
Yeah,
You know. So hey, interesting times. We just
that's
hope and
it.
pray for mercy. So with that, we're gonna say, "Oh, praises be to
Yahweh,
Yahweh, Bashem,
Hashem, Yahweh,
Hoshai,
Shai,
Bashem,
Hashem,
Mukakodash.
Kodash,
Double honors to the apostles and elders a bit. Most down to next time.
double
We're gonna
honors.
say, Shalom.
Shalom.